Welcome to our online MBA info session. My name is Anna Patterson and I'm happy to be here with you. Today we're going to talk about a very special program and we have two experts here with you. So to my left, I'd like to introduce Professor Georg Kodek and Catherina Segal. Professor Georg Kodek is the Academic Director of the Professional MBA in European Business Law. And today you've prepared a short presentation with the MBA team that you're going to share. And after this presentation, I'm going to be returning with Catharina and we're going to have an open question and answer session for you. So keep tuned and we'll see you shortly afterwards. All right, I'd say let's get started with our presentation. See you in a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's a great pleasure for me today to introduce you to our new program, the PMBA with a law specialization. Let me go back one slide because here you see our wonderful new campus, which we are very proud of. And indeed, in the background, in the middle of the picture, you see a dark building of steel and glass, and that is where our classes will be held. So this is the WU Executive Academy physically, so you know what we are talking about. Now, more important, of course, is content. You all know what an MBA program is. We have a long tradition here at WU of professional MBA programs and other MBA programs. Now, what we are proud to offer for the first time is we have a law specialization. So here on this slide, on the right-hand side, you see the subjects we teach in our law, in our specialization. Sorry, that's coming up. First, we have an overview of specializations available in the professional MBA program. Most of them, as you see, are taught in English, and we do have a few ones shown in light green color on the slide we would teach in German. So what is new is the European business law specialization. Before we come to that, let me give a little bit of background information. Now, our median age of our, not our age, of course, but the age of our participants is 35 years. So that also gives you an indication about the work experience, the level of experience among our participants, and that is 12 years. And typically, or on average rather, there is a 4 years experience in a leadership position. Now, most of our students are international students, 74%, and altogether we have students, participants from 30 countries. Now, class size typically is somewhere between 30 and 40, and typically we have 60-65% male and 35% female participants. Now, what can you gain from our professional MBA program? Now, first of all, you see there is a business core, and then we move on to a specialization, to specialized subject, and finally, you will have to write a master's thesis. Now, that program gives you a chance to sharpen your leadership and management competence. And in our specialization, to develop your legal know-how and to integrate your knowledge and skills. Now, how do we achieve that? We are quite flexible because in the first core, in the business core, you are able to choose between two forms. You can choose a 4-day track schedule and an 8-day track schedule. That's an alternative. Either you opt for the left half of the slide that would consist of one 7-day module and then a number of 4-day modules, and the alternative would be you opt for fewer but slightly longer periods, tracks as it's called. And if you're quick in arithmetics, in math, you see both, of course, come up at the same number of days, but you can choose how you want to spread out these days over your period of study. Now, how do we do that? We squeeze a lot and indeed a wealth of information into a fairly short time period. And we do this by having a pre-module assignment beforehand. Then we have the period in class where you work together with our professors, and then we have a post-module which repeats, where you repeat what you have learned before. Now, you get a pre-module assignment at least 2 weeks before the module, so that gives you flexibility. You can decide for yourselves when it's the best time to work on that pre-module assignment. Then you meet for 7 days or 4 days, or as it says here, 5 days, depending on the course, where you meet in class, you meet your colleagues, you meet the professors, talk to them. So there's a lot of interchange, it's an exchange, it's very interactive. And then you have a post-module phase, which again is spent at home and where you are flexible, you get work to do, and you are flexible. Obviously, there is a deadline, but you can decide when it's best, when it's fitting for you to complete that type of work. Now, let me now turn to our professional specialization, and that is European business law. Now, what is the content of European business law? It is exactly that. It's European, it's business, and it's law. So we are very proud in offering a course that talks about law in general, not just law in any particular country, but we are talking about European law. We are talking about legal principles shared among all, or at least among most European countries. And it's business law in that we focus on that parts of the law that are particularly relevant for business. Now, you see some of the subjects we are teaching in that course: private law, commercial law, public law, and all these courses. From all these courses, you can benefit, and benefit in various ways. You get an introduction into legal thinking. You understand the way how lawyers think, how lawyers interact. And also you get a basic knowledge. Now, I cannot promise that you will never in your life ever will need a lawyer. You will have to consult lawyers, but you will be in a better position to determine when is it necessary to ask for additional legal advice. You will be able to communicate better with the lawyer, and you will be in a better position to understand the answers he or she will give to you. Now, let me provide you with an example. When you think of a CEO of a large company, that person will not be, or not necessarily be, the best engineer or the best marketing expert. But he will know a little bit of everything and understand, hopefully, a little bit of everything that's going on in that company. Now, here is when we come in. We provide that basic legal knowledge, these basic legal skills that you need without making you a full-fledged lawyer. That is obviously not possible in such a short time frame, but we can achieve quite a lot. Now, here the slide gives you an overview of our schedule. We plan like opera singers. You see, we plan not just for this year, but also for next year, and some courses for the year after that. Now, here you have the general business core, and this is our most recent baby, if I may use that term, the European business law specialization, where we start with an introduction into law and then move on to contract law, the law of damages, dispute resolution, commercial law, and many other subjects. Now, also on the slide, you see there is a period in February 2022 where we will discuss selected topics. Now, what is this? We left this, well, a sort of blank in order to be able to talk about recent current developments. So we do not want to be bound too much by a strict schedule. We want to have that flexibility to address any developments that come up until then. And also in similar courses I have been teaching in the past, we also asked our participants, well, what are you interested in? Is there a special area you want us to cover? And because the groups generally are quite small, we will be happy to accommodate such requests. Now, here's some very basic information about admission criteria, tuition, and again, the time frame. Now, what do you need in order to be admitted? You need a diploma on a bachelor's or master's level and a minimum of 3 years of work experience. And since the program is taught in English, you have to be proficient in English, both written and oral spoken English. Now, there is a downside to what I've been just saying, that is tuition. You have to pay tuition. We are able to offer scholarships on a limited basis only, unfortunately, and the program starts in October this year, and it takes 18 months. Now, that concludes my part of the presentation, and here you see already a picture of our program manager, Catherina, and she is going to come up to me and will also tell you a little bit of things necessary to know, or certainly helpful to know, in our program.
Yes, well, welcome back. We are here now for our question and answer session. I thought that was a very lively presentation, so thank you. And very informative. So we wanted to ask, the first question from Natasha would be, what topic can the master thesis be about?
The master's thesis can be about any topic, or rather any field of law we cover in the course. So you are quite flexible. And indeed, I always say to my students in our local law programs, particularly in the professional master's programs, it's not forbidden that your master's thesis is useful. So very often participants discuss in their master's thesis things that have come up during their normal work and legal problems they have encountered. So your own experience can come in, and that makes your master's thesis extremely valuable.
That does sound pretty valuable. Was there a topic that you can remember, Katharina, from a previous class?
I think one very interesting master thesis was somebody took a topic from her hobby, which was about hunting. So, and about some regulations in hunting areas. I cannot remember that much, but so that was quite interesting.
Hobby in a legal context.
Yeah.
Or let me give one or two other examples. We had an excellent master's thesis where one of our participants wrote about the introduction of a compliance program in her company. Now, we all know what companies are, we all know what compliance is, but what she addressed was her specific company, which was a chemical, a distributor of chemicals, basically, in Eastern Europe, with special compliance challenges, if I may use that term. And the difficulty was, how can we educate the salespeople from her company and make them familiar with compliance issues in that context? And that was a fascinating piece of work. Now, we had another piece of work which was very interesting, and I hope you already had lunch, that was about garbage, the legal aspects involved in garbage. And you can't imagine how many laws, regulations, and so forth one has to observe when you are in a company which generates garbage of a specific sort. So that's not an ordinary office, of course, but also that was very valuable.
It does sound very hands-on, and I'm glad we have some concrete examples here. By the way, these examples, where are they coming from? Since today we're presenting actually a new program. Can you give us a little bit on the background of the former program?
Yes, thank you. It's a very good question. So we have been offering German language master's programs for a long time. We started about 10 years ago or 6 years ago with an English language program. And what is new is not the content, but what is new is the combination of that law program with our professional MBA program. So you get the best of two worlds, so to say. The PMBA program, we had that for a long time, plus the legal specialization, and that is what's new.
All right. Thanks for that clarification, Professor Kodek. We had another question coming in from Matthias, actually, who's wondering about the accreditation situation for this specialization. He noted very well that the AACSB accreditation was not yet in the bag. Is that planned for this specialization?
Yes, it is actually, but as it is a completely new program, we are starting this autumn for the first time. So, but as the accreditation process is always almost every second year, we are starting also with the accreditation process for the first time. So,
great.
Chances are great that we will get the accreditation for this specialization as well.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Matthias, and Natasha as well. For your further question, previous question, just let us know if not.
And as you see on the slide, we are very proud of our triple accreditation, and we strive to be a genuinely international university. Vienna is particularly suited for that, not just geographically between East and West in the true center of Europe, but also, you may know, we are the seat of many international organizations. Many companies have their headquarters, or at least Eastern European headquarters, in Vienna. And so we address not just Austrian native students, but want to be a truly international, or at least truly European business and law school.
True. And on that point of internationality, I mean, the professional MBA business core, the first half of this specialization, has a large amount of unique students. Isn't that right, Catherina?
Yes. Yes.
What kind of students are actually in that?
Different kind of people from different kind of branches. We have people from marketing and sales, more from entrepreneurship, innovation, people who are starting their own business or they already have started their own business. Okay. We have also people from law, like from legal, as they are also already working as legal consultants. So it's a very mixed group usually.
Sounds
from
great.
Very different countries, which is a great mix of culture and a great experience.
Yeah, and it's really, let's say, condensed. I mean, in terms of the time amount, 18 months to get in contact with people from over 30 countries and from over 17 industries. It probably would have taken you 10 years and a few job changes, but here you get it in 18 months. Yes. So I hope that answers your question, Andrea, from earlier. Another question that came up is, speaking on the professional MBA specializations, is it possible to combine two? I'll ask this actually to
two specializations?
Yes.
I think it's actually possible. I'm not sure if you can do both specializations in one time. You have to check the schedule first, but it's possible, yeah.
Okay. So get in touch with Catherina for details. Her email is on the screen. We have a further question coming in. I believe it was at the beginning. Yes, Andrea was wondering about the admission criteria, and in particular, if you were required to have a GMAT exam.
No.
No,
you don't need a GMAT exam because usually we meet from our experience. You can do a lot of tests and they are quite good. But then at the end, you're talking with people everyday life and discussing special law cases. So from our experience, when you will be invited to the admission interview, which is completely in English, we're talking with you then about 30, 40 minutes about almost every aspect of this MBA. So from our experience, we find out very quick if your English is sufficient or not. And that's why we don't need a GMAT test.
I believe you meant the TOEFL test.
Yes.
Sorry,
yes. Yeah. But why not a GMAT exam? Why is that not required?
Well, I mean, because we have already admission criteria that you need a university certificate. So like bachelor or something like that. So that's why we don't need the GMAT test.
Okay, yeah, I mean, sounds very appropriate because, I mean, for younger MBA students who do an MBA back to their bachelor's without any work experience, a GMAT is probably a good measure of their experience and knowledge. Whereas in this program, you can expect people with many years of work experience, as we heard earlier, and leadership experience. So, I mean,
yes, and absolutely. And while Catherina was addressing the TOEFL test, what she said equally applies to academic standards. I mean, you find out quite a lot in about half an hour or 40 minutes. We're not doing this for the first time. We have been interviewing students for many years, obviously myself longer than the two young ladies that support me here today. And that together with your academic performance at your previous institutions, that provides a sufficiently firm, robust basis for making the decision on whether or not to admit someone.
So I hope that answers your question. If not, keep them coming. We often have a lot of people coming to our info sessions, taking a half an hour out of their lunch break to come join us. So I wanted to ask both of you for one extra special tip that you could give today for someone applying.
Don't be afraid to do it. Just give it a try. Usually, if you check the admission criteria and you fulfill the administrative admission criteria, then the chances are good that you will be admitted. But don't be afraid about it. If you are not sure, you can send me your CV. I can give you a CV check and tell you right before if it's possible or not. So don't be afraid just to try it.
Ah, that sounds like a nice...
Okay. Yes, and let me jump in right here. My advice would be, if you have any question, just ask it. There is a German saying, the only stupid question is the one that was never asked. So we're here to help you, and we are a small program, and we can and we enjoy indeed helping you. It's different from our regular law curriculum where we have hundreds of students. Here we have a program which is tailor-made for people like yourselves. And so you have all the coordinates, email and telephone, and Ms. Segal is looking forward to your call or your email.
Perfect. And I heard that there is actually an early bird going on, which was mentioned earlier. Can you remind me, Catherina, when the deadline was?
Deadline is end of March, so 31st of March. If we get your application until then, you will get the early bird.
Okay,
that's the deal.
That's the deal. And are there any extra hurdles in applying for the early bird discount?
No, it's like a regular application, just that you apply before the 31st of March.
So it works automatically.
Yeah.
You meet the deadline and you get the discount.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for clearing that up. Perfect. And is it perhaps possible to organize a meeting in Vienna and to come and visit the campus?
Sure. So we are actually working at the campus, so we are very flexible with doing individual meetings. So if you need a personal consultation or you want to get some insights about the class, about the contents, you're always welcome to visit us anytime. So just give us a call or write us an email, and we will.
So Natasha, perhaps we'll see you within the next few days or weeks on campus. That would be wonderful. And if somebody were interested perhaps in hearing from, let's say, the side of a student, from the student's perspective about this program, would it be possible to get in touch with an MBA student here?
Yes, of course. Actually, as we already mentioned, it's starting for the first time, but you can exchange with a student who has done already the business core and also a student who has done the European business law part. So you can get an impression from both parts.
So two options out there. Let me recap those. One, you can get in touch with a student and hear from their sides. Or you can get in touch with Catherina Segal. Her contact information is on the screen for, let's say, that profile check to see if your profile based on your CV would meet the admission criteria, sort of like a soft entry And yeah, take advantage, I would say, of these two options. And let us know if you have any further questions. We have some time for you, so we're happy to help. And usually one of the questions that comes up on these sort of events is how does the, let's say, career outlook look after this program? I've done the MBA, I've specialized in European business law. What kind of career opportunities have your graduates developed into?
Well, we have a statistics that shows a significant portion of all our graduates do get a pay raise and do get promoted after graduating from one of our programs. Obviously, I can't guarantee this. I have to add this information because I'm a lawyer. Since now this is the first time we offer this particular type of course, I could not tell you what type of position exactly, but I think if you think about your own company, about your own career, aren't there a lot of positions where at least some understanding of legal issues, some background knowledge of legal issues is extremely helpful. We certainly found out in the past the people that took our law-only course, if I may use that derogatory term, they were quite happy with it. And Catherina will be glad to put you in touch with one of these people if you like more information.
Okay, perfect. And some of the students or the listeners today, excuse me, are interested even in becoming entrepreneurs and perhaps starting their own business. How would this specialization help you to do that?
Well, I think it would help because there is law everywhere, everywhere. We spoke about garbage. You mentioned it's lunch break, just reminding us in case someone has forgotten to have his or her lunch. That food is governed by legal rules. I don't have to mention tax. Cars, once you start opening a business, you have rules everywhere. You need a business license. You need a permit maybe for building or refurbishing your premises, and so forth. That's just where it starts. And you have all sorts of professional rules coming in. And what we create, obviously, we can't give you a country by country approach in all detail, but we can create a general awareness, a general understanding, and I think that will help tremendously.
Great, thank you for that input. That really put it on point there. And we had another question coming in from Andrea. Would it be possible to do the admission interview online, for example, over Skype, Catherina?
Yes, sure.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So great question. And also a question coming in from Thomas. Is patent law covered in the program?
Absolutely. That's part of our commercial law module, IP law in general, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. And let us know if you have any further questions. This is the time to make use of it, and we're still here for you. So great question coming in from Natasha. She's wondering about the tuition costs and what in particular these tuition costs cover. So I'm going to stress this to you, Catherina.
The tuition fees are like 33,000 euros, which includes all the course material you need for this for learning and studying. And also you get a little bit of kind of not really lunch, but you get a little bit
snacks.
Snacks. So that's what is included. But accommodation fees or something like that, you have to take care on yourself. We have some special rates in cooperation with the University of Economics of the hotels which are around, so we can give you some recommendations. But the tuition fees covers up everything in course material you need for studying.
Okay, to really learn the material. Exactly. I guess it would be really difficult to cover accommodation fees. What about the Viennese people?
Yes, that's kind
of. Don't need the accommodations.
Yes, and not everybody like different taste of hotels and levels and styles. So,
yeah. But it's a great question because other schools, perhaps in another continent, have student dorms, which, for instance, this campus does not. But as Catherina mentioned, we have special rates with hotels that are literally across the street from our building. So it makes things easier when you have class at 8:30 in the morning. By the way, what time do classes start in the program?
8:30.
8:30.
At 8:30. And how long do they usually go during the day?
5:30. So obviously there would be one break in the morning, there would be a longer lunch break, and one break in the afternoon.
Okay. And we saw that the classes often take place from Thursday through Sunday, sometimes Wednesday through Sunday. Yeah.
It is planned for Wednesday till Sunday. Might be that 1 week probably will be from Thursday till Sunday, but we just keep one day left for if somebody's got sick or something like that.
I understand.
So that's just an
Contingencies
emergency
of any
case.
kind, yes.
So it sounds like a hands-on part-time program. And for some people, it might be interesting to hear perhaps a tip or two if you're balancing MBA with work and family life. Do you have any tips on how to make this balance possible?
Well, I think very important is to get yourself structured very early. We have the schedule is already online, so you know the dates. Maybe organize yourself when you want to study, when you want to prepare. You can choose by yourself, so it depends if you are an evening learner or if early in the morning or maybe just on the weekends. Plan the dates, check it up with your family. That's because sometimes some weekends you might be not here, not only physically but also in your mind for studying other stuff. So I would say try to prepare yourself quite early, and
and determination, of course, always helps. And also, now we've just talked about your side, what you have to do. What I can tell you is what we do. The program is not just advertised as a part-time program, but it really is a part-time program. So we have been offering similar programs for a long time, and we have the needs and difficulties of people who are working very hard on their day-to-day jobs in mind when we design a program like this. And because we try to have classes on, as we just heard, Thursday to Sunday. So then we have this we do because we have the people working in their normal jobs while they are attending our courses in mind. We have flexible periods for the pre-module and post-module work. So it should be possible to accommodate the needs of the program with your ordinary professional life and also your private life.
And definitely, I mean, it sounds like it's been pretty well organized from our end, and I guess there are some known survivors.
Absolutely, we are proud of our survivors. On our website you see testimonials from some of them, and we not just have admission periods, we also have graduation ceremonies which provide physical evidence that there are people who not just survived the course but did fantastically and graduated.
Wonderful. And I bet those are really emotional, exciting events. So, well, great. I'd offer our listeners now the opportunity to send us a few more questions. If you have something that you're considering asking, please make use of the chat box now. We're happy to be here for you. And make use of this lunch break. And I just have a background question for the two of you. Maybe it's interesting for our listeners to know, how long have you been involved, Catherina, at the VU Executive Academy?
Yeah, I'm working here for the Executive Academy since almost 9 years now. So
wow.
I started as an assistant, but then became program manager of the PMBA Business Core. And then I went on maternity leave, and after I came back, after I returned, I started with the Master of Legal Studies and all the other law programs.
Wonderful. So 9 years of experience.
Yeah.
Working with students, and I guess you like it. It's fun.
Yes, it's very fun. It's very interesting. You meet a lot of interesting people, a lot of interesting characters, and you learn a lot about people and also the programs. So
great.
Yeah.
And how long have you been involved?
Well, I can easily top that in terms of sheer number of years. I have been a professor at this university since 2007. Before that, I was at the University of Vienna. And altogether, I have been teaching in some form or another for about 30 years, I think.
All right. Well, we can't top that. No.
No.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. I think we can wrap it up as there are no more questions at this point. But we have the opportunity to get in touch by email. Please send Catherina your questions and continue the conversation. I'd like to thank our IT support at this point for their marvelous support in the background, as well as thank my two colleagues here for their help. And thank you as well from my side. Would you like to add something?
Thanks for joining and hope to see you in autumn.
Bye-bye.